Good morning. I'm Patricia Murphy, a reporter with GPB, Georgia Public Broadcasting. You are watching the Atlanta Press Club debates, Loudermilk Young debate series. This is the Democratic debate for candidates in Georgia's 7th Congressional District. In order to ensure everyone's safety, the candidates are participating from their homes. The Atlanta Press Club gives special thanks to broadcast partner Georgia Public Broadcasting for their help in organizing this series. Let's meet the candidates in alphabetical order. They are Carolyn Bourdeaux, a professor at the Andrew Young School of Public Policy and the former director of the Georgia Senate Budget and Evaluation Office. John Eaves served 3 terms as the chairman of the Fulton County Commission. Nabilah managed a successful campaign for Atlanta City Council. She also worked on Jason Carter's campaign for governor and Hillary Clinton's campaign for president. Zahra Karinshak is an Air Force veteran and former prosecutor. She is currently an attorney and a state senator serving Georgia's 48th district. Rashid Malik is a former executive at IBM. He later started a technology company and has written a book on Chinese entrepreneurs. And finally, Brenda Lopez Romero was the first Latina elected to the Georgia General Assembly in 2016. She represents House District 99. And this morning, we are also joined by Emma Hurt, a reporter from 90.1 FM WABE, who will be assisting me with the questioning. Now, let's get started. Please note, candidates will have 60 seconds to answer their questions and 30 seconds to respond with rebuttals. Candidates, please raise your hand if you would like a rebuttal, and I will recognize you for that. And for the full set of rules, please go to the Atlanta Press Club's website at atlantapressclub.org. And to start the debate, each candidate will be asked a question. Emma, you get the first question of Brenda Lopez Romero.
Representative Lopez Romero, you've said that you support comprehensive immigration reform. You are an immigrant yourself, having moved to the U.S. at age 5. But is decriminalizing illegal border crossing something you would advocate for in Congress?
Thank you, Emma, for the question. You are right. I have also been a former undocumented immigrant, and now I am an immigration attorney, as was mentioned, also a small business owner and state representative. And I've been honored to do so in a representative capacity as the first Latina. So I know firsthand the value that immigrants provide our state and our country. That is why I have been advocating for comprehensive immigration reform and the DREAM Act for the last 15 years, and will do so in Congress and ensure that we improve it by eliminating family category preferences, the permanent bar, and also ensure that we repeal the 287G from the INA. That being said, I most definitely do not think that we need to continue to criminalize communities of color that benefit our society and our taxpayers here in the state.
15 seconds. I will ask now a question to Senator Karinshak. Senator Karinshak, Congress will likely be dealing with the health and economic consequences of the COVID-19 crisis for years to come. What is the Democratic House getting right in its response, and what would you do differently if elected?
For the COVID response, as a state senator, we've been dealing with this issue daily. We get hundreds of calls and emails and are hearing from folks, not just across the district, but also across the state. What we must do is remember that the current budget crisis was already exacerbated by Trump's tax cuts, which was a handout to wealthy Americans and Wall Street. What I will do as a congresswoman is keep in mind always the middle class and small businesses, because they are critical to any revival. And as far as responding to COVID, you must listen to medical experts and be mindful of their advice. What we're seeing right now is too much politicization of this issue, and it is distressing to see that. We need to come together and work together to keep all Americans safe, healthy.
Thank you, Senator.
That's my goal.
Thank you, Senator. Emma, please ask a question to Rashid Malik.
Oh, no, I was not raising a question. No, I was not raising my hand, sorry.
It's my turn to ask you a question. Okay. Dr. Malik, you've listed women's rights as a policy priority on your website, including the right to live free from violence, slavery, and discrimination, to own property, and to vote. What specific policies would you support in this area were you to be elected?
First thing, I believe on economic right. If you give the economic rights to everybody, they can live their life the way they want. So we have to make sure as policymakers that we advocate and we promote and we establish a law, equal pay for equal job. If I work 1 hour as a professor with the same qualification, another person, if she is a female doing the same thing, should get exactly identical amount, no less. So we have to treat everybody with justice. So if we promote economic equality and get rid of the income inequality and equal pay, then we have a harmonious society where we can compete with each other, but we know our competition will pay for. So will not be discriminated. Everybody should be treated equally with equal economy.
15 seconds.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Dr. Malik. I'll ask a question now to Dr. Bourdeaux. Dr. Bourdeaux, you directed Georgia's Senate Budget Office in the years after the 2008 recession, when the budget shrank by $4 billion in 2009 alone. It's clear that the federal budget may also see major cuts in response to the current economic crisis. What would your spending priorities in Washington be, and what will have to get cut?
So thank you guys for hosting this. I was director of the Senate Budget Office during the Great Recession, and so have really been in these kind of situations where you face some very, very tough choices. What we need to do as a country, our top priority is going to have to be getting our country back on its feet after the coronavirus crisis. Generally, though, I believe we need to invest in ourselves. We need to invest in quality, affordable health care. We need to invest in education. We need to invest in infrastructure, addressing climate change. Those are the areas of investment. Where do we need to pull back? I would say we need to look at all of the corporate tax breaks and corporate welfare that is riddled throughout our budget. For the first time in history, billionaires are paying a lower tax rate than middle-class families in this country, and that is wrong, and that absolutely must be addressed. We have pharmaceutical companies and manufacturers. And
I'm afraid your time has expired, Dr. Bourdeaux. Thank you so much.
I didn't hear the 15 second. Yeah, gotcha.
Thank you. Emma, please ask your question to Nabilah Islam.
Ms. Islam, you support Medicare for all, the Green New Deal and descheduling marijuana. You've been compared to some of Congress's most progressive members, including Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. But this is a swing district. With your platform, how do you plan to win over enough votes in a general election in November in a district that's been held by Republicans for more than 2 decades?
Thank you for the question. Well, I believe, look, I'm the only candidate that grew up in this district. I have a shared lived experience with my community. And the positions that I've taken and my policies reflect my lived experience with my community. Medicare for all will give health care to everyone in this district and across the country. 20% of us are uninsured. Also, folks want living wages. Folks want agree with me that we need to increase living wage to a minimum wage to a living wage starting at $15 an hour. And the climate crisis is something that we must deal with. And my generation is the one that has seen the climate crisis at its doorstep. This is a very young district. And this district really resonates with my story. Like, my story isn't unique. The way I grew up is the way that the majority of this district grew up. The daughter of working class immigrants from Bangladesh. And I'm running to give this district a bold progressive voice at the table. And I know in November, we'll be able to flip this district blue.
Thank you. And the final question in this round is for John Eaves. Mr. Eaves, you recently moved to the 7th District. What brought you there, and how can you best represent the issues as a newcomer yourself?
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to your listening audience. I've been in Gwinnett now for 1.5 years, and certainly have been in Georgia now for 40 years. And after serving as chairman of Fulton County for 11 years and certainly ending that tenure, I wanted a new chapter in my life. So I decided to move north, cheaper taxes, but at the same time, also the opportunity to grow my business. I'm a executive director of a nonprofit organization that serves underprivileged young people in the high school. And I certainly wanted to expand that program beyond Fulton County and DeKalb County to Gwinnett County. And I love where I am. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Eaves. That concludes the first portion of the debate. As a reminder, you are watching the Democratic debate for the candidates in Georgia's 7th Congressional District. Now, the candidates will have a chance to ask a question of the opponent of their choice. Candidates will have 30 seconds to ask the question, 60 seconds to respond, and 30 seconds for a for a rebuttal. I will remind you all that you have about 15 seconds left when it's time. And by random selection, Dr. Malik, you may ask the first question to an opponent of your choice.
I will ask my question. Hello, everybody. How are you? Ramadan Mubarak. And we have got two progressives from Bangladesh, Ms. Islam and myself. So we are much progressive than others. I would like to ask Mr. John, what is your plan for economic development of Georgia or District 7?
Sure. Thank you so much, Dr. Malik. One of the things I will say, having served as a chairman of Fulton County, I certainly had a lot of experience in this area. Number one, I think it's important to grow and support the disadvantaged business enterprises in Gwinnett County. I'm very proud of the fact that in Fulton County, we've procured $300 million worth of contracts annually, and 40% went to women and minorities. And so I would I put a lot of effort in terms of supporting the small businesses, particularly those that are minority-owned and women-owned, having incubators, establishing community improvement districts, providing support to them so that they can procure contracts with the federal government as well as local government as well. So thank you so much, Dr. Malik.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Eaves. Senator Karinshak, it's your turn to ask a question of your opponent, of your choice.
Thank you so much, and thank you, everybody, for this opportunity. Carolyn, we are currently in the worst economic crisis of our lifetime. Unemployment rates are through the roof, tax revenue is likely down, and lawmakers at every level of government are facing difficult questions about our priorities and values. The last time we were in such a crisis, you worked with the Republicans to gut education for our children and gut health care for our seniors. The cuts you recommended were so draconian, the AJC editorialized against you. How did you reach the decision to cut health care and education?
So as you know, when you serve as staff, you can advise and you can advocate. But at the end of the day, the people who make the final calls and the final decisions are elected officials. The reason I am running for office is because I deeply disagree with the decisions that are being made at the state level and at the federal level in this country. We need to make sure that everybody has quality, affordable health care. One of the reasons I got into this race was because I was so frustrated that the state had failed to expand Medicaid and the Republicans in Congress had destroyed the Affordable Care Act. I believe we need to invest in education, economic opportunity for our children and our families. Last of all, I believe we need to restore our democracy. That is why I'm running, because my priorities are different.
Senator Karinshak, do you have a rebuttal?
Carolyn, you know that being staff, just following orders is no excuse for the cuts you designed and helped implement. As a staffer, I've never been embarrassed about the policies I've worked for, and I've never had to apologize for them. And as a state senator, I'm proud of my work for Medicaid expansion, protecting women's rights. In this race, voters have a clear choice between someone who's been an apologist and an enabler of Republican agendas, or a proven leader who's been fighting for our country and our values.
All right, thank you, Senator. Your time has expired. Mr. Eaves, you may ask the next question to an opponent of your choice, sir.
I'll put Dr. Bourdeaux back on the hot seat again. District 7 is a majority minority district, and certainly during the COVID-19 pandemic, we see a lot of inequities along the lines of economics as well as race. So what policies, what programs would you adopt for the unique circumstance of people of color in District 7 that's perhaps over and beyond what the other candidates in the race who are people of color?
Yeah. So one of the many reasons I got into this race was also because of President Trump and his divisive, racist, sexist, anti-immigrant policies. I believe deeply in a country that's diverse and inclusive. I teach at the Andrew Young School of Policy Studies at Georgia State, an institution that graduates more African American students than any other university in the country, and I'm very proud to be a part of that. One of the policies I am advocating for is a security bond for children that grows over time based on income. One of the big challenges that communities of color face is disparity in wealth. And this savings bond program will help address and equalize a lot of the income inequality that we see.
15
and we
seconds.
see that playing out in the COVID crisis.
Mr. Eaves, do you have a rebuttal?
No, thank you.
All right. Representative Lopez Romero, you have the next question.
Thank you so much. And this question is for Carolyn. Carolyn, the real question in this primary election is about who can actually flip the 7. And when you ran last election cycle, you had a perfect storm. You had Stacey Abrams bringing historic turnout when in fact she actually won this district over Kemp. 5 House seats, 1 Senate seat, 2 county commissions, 1 school. Our solicitor in Gwinnett County and Gwinnett County as a whole went blue. In fact, our adjacent neighbor, Lucy Macbeth, was able to flip her district, which
Representative, your time has expired.
This time around.
Please ask your question.
So when I got into this race, I got in up against a 4-term Republican incumbent who had never gotten below 60% of the vote. If you looked at a map of this country, this district was solid red and nobody thought it could be won. But with the help of many of you all watching this and a lot of hard work, we closed a 20 percentage point gap, a gap larger than anybody in this debate has ever had to try to close. And I came within 433 votes. But also, we had to litigate for weeks because it was ground zero for voting problems. So it's not actually clear that I lost this race. We are coming back this time with a coalition that is stronger than before. I come in endorsed by Congressman John Lewis, by Andrew Young, and we are coming back to finish the job.
Representative, do you have a rebuttal?
Yes, Patricia, the facts. I am the only one here that has a history of winning 2 elections against tough odds. Why? Because I have been engaging in community organizing and grassroots work and have focused on constituent services for the last 15 years. And also, you're right, I was amongst those that helped you by taking ballots for you. But despite everything, almost winning, there's another word for that, and it's called losing. So this election cycle, we are going to elect someone that's actually going to flip this seat that is representative.
Your time has expired, Representative. Thank you. Dr. Bourdeaux, it is your turn to ask a question.
Okay. Gosh, I won't ask one of myself. So mine is for Nabilah Islam. We have heard your story about healthcare. One of the reasons I got into this race was to make sure people have quality, affordable healthcare. And I want to say that I appreciate your telling your story. And I want to just ask how you are doing right now, given the current situation in this country.
Well, Carolyn, thank you for asking me how I'm doing. I'm doing well. I unfortunately am uninsured along with 20% of our district, about 135,000 people. And it was scary enough not having health insurance before this pandemic. And it's scary even now. And now we have thousands of Georgians who, are hospitalized right now and don't know how they're going to pay for the astronomical cost of healthcare. And I believe that's why I've been advocating for Medicare for all so ardently, because, I believe healthcare is a human right and that everyone should be able to have healthcare in this country.
Do you have a rebuttal, Dr. Bourdeaux?
Briefly, yeah, I want to thank you for sharing the story. I think that's a story that's shared by many people. My family has dealt with the huge costs of healthcare, and we do need to take immediate action to make sure that everybody has quality, affordable healthcare.
All right, thank you so much. And Ms. Aslam, you have the final question this round.
This question is for Senator Zahra Karinshak. 20% of our district is uninsured right now. And that number has surely risen because of the number of folks that have become unemployed. Thanks to a system that ties healthcare to employment, thousands have lost their health insurance. Now we have thousands of Georgians that are hospitalized right now that don't know how they're going to pay for their hospital treatment. You refuse to support Medicare for all, although right now Medicare for all is at 90% support.
Please ask your question.
It's polling at 90% with Democrats nationwide. Can you tell me why you've decided not to support Medicare for all?
Thank you, Ms. Islam. Let me be very clear. I grew up on welfare and food stamps and only had health insurance because of Medicaid. I am truly dedicated to everyone having access to quality, affordable health care. I am a state senator who fought in the Senate for Medicaid expansion, and I'm dedicated to including a public option. We need to have everybody have access to affordable health care. Now, I've also heard from many folks in the district who want to keep their private insurance, and I'm respecting that choice for them. But I agree with you that everyone needs to have access to quality, affordable health care. And unlike others, I have fought for that diligently throughout my record. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mrs. Lum, do you have a rebuttal?
Yes. So you did not mention if, folks get sick during this pandemic, how will they pay for their treatment? Thousands of people across this country will go. 3/4 of bankruptcies are due to the fact that people can't afford their medical treatment. It is a moral failing of our country when the amount of money you have in your bank account decides if you will live or die. That's why I support Medicare for all, because I believe healthcare is a human right, that no one should be left behind in this system, and that when elected, I will work very hard to pass Medicare for all.
Thank you, Mrs. Lum. And that concludes our second round. For those just joining us, this is a debate between the Democratic candidates for the Congressional District number 7 in Georgia. Emma Hurt and I will now continue the questioning of the candidates until we run out of time. I will determine when a rebuttal is appropriate. Please raise your hand if you would like a rebuttal. And candidates, Emma will have the first question this round.
Commissioner Eaves, you say you support the Second Amendment right to bear arms, but are a proponent of gun control measures, including banning possession of semi-automatic assault weapons. The Supreme Court ruled a handgun ban unconstitutional in the District of Columbia versus Heller case in 2008. What makes you think this policy proposal is even possible given that precedent, and let alone something that constituents in a swing district would support?
Well, you're right. I am a proponent of the Second Amendment, but I do think that there's responsible legislation that's needed. One of the things that I think is important is the adoption of the red flag laws. These are laws that will prohibit individuals who have some sort of mental illness from either getting a gun or having those guns depossessed from them. I also am a strong proponent of funding for mental health services. One of the good things about me coming from county government is I'm very familiar with mental health, behavioral health, and I see the benefits of that. And I think adequate funding is needed to make sure that the mental health of people in our communities are supported. And secondly, a lot of young people grow up in traumatic situations, and they need mental health services on a school level as well as a community level.
15 seconds. Yeah, Senator Karinshak.
As a former federal prosecutor, I have gone after gun traffickers. And as a state senator, I have introduced 2 bills to strengthen background checks. What is critical here is there is a gap that does not cover misdemeanor domestic violence convictions, and those convictions must be included.
15
and
seconds.
my record has shown that I will fight for common sense gun violence prevention. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Karinshak. Dr. Malik, did you have something to add?
Yes, Mr. John, I would like to ask you, like New Zealand and Canada, how are you going to address the issue of assault weapons, military weapons in the hands of civilians?
Well, thank you, Dr. Malik. That's something else I'm going to be strongly supportive in terms of banning, prohibiting. I think it's completely unnecessary in terms of assault weapons. So I do all that I can legislatively to prohibit the access and the purchase of those type of machinery.
All right, and a final rebuttal from Representative Lopez Romero.
Thank you, Patricia. I just want to address what we actually are going to be doing in Congress, and that is for myself doing the work that I've been doing of advocacy and bringing people to organize to get the U.S. Senate to pass H.R. 8 that already includes red flag legislation, prohibition of high-capacity magazines, and universal background checks.
Thank you, Representative. I'll now ask a question of Nabilah Islam. Ms. Islam, President Trump won the 7th District in 2016 by 6 points over Hillary Clinton. Is there any area you feel the president has been good for the 7th District in his term?
Not at all. I believe Donald Trump and this administration has been a disaster to our communities, immigrants, people of color, working people. That's why, I'm running on such a progressive platform, because I believe, as someone that I'm the only candidate that's grown up in this district, I understand that people need healthcare. People need living wages. We need to end systemic racism in our immigration system and criminal justice system. And I also advocate for bold progressive policies to combat the climate crisis. None of the policies that we talk about today matter if we don't have a planet to inherit. And with that being said, this was a district that Stacey Abrams won in 2018. And it's going to take someone that's inspiring, that that energizes the base in November. Blue. I know the policies
15 seconds.
Advocating have been resonating with this community, because my story isn't unique. It's the story of this district.
Thank you, Ms. Islam. Emma Hurt, you now have the next question.
Senator Karinshak, you have not yet served a full term in the state Senate. Why did you decide that you're prepared to be in Congress?
Thank you. My history and experience closely resembles what we need for this district. I am an Air Force veteran, a former federal prosecutor, a whistleblower attorney, mom, and a state senator. And what has happened is we lost last time. We can't afford to lose again. And I won in a race that no one thought we could win, and we won by almost 8 points. So folks in the community came to me and asked me over and over to consider, and my family got together, and we see it as our duty to run, because we have to win this seat. We must combat Trump, and I'm the person to do it. I have wherewithal at the record over time, serving folks over and over again. I do what I say, and I say what I do. You can believe in me.
15 seconds.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Bourdeaux, did you have a response to that?
Yes. I want to just say these folks didn't run in this race last time. When I ran last time, it was a district that people did not think could be won. I went up against an incumbent, 4-term incumbent, who had never gotten below 60%. Stacey won, but the difference between my votes and hers are negligible. There was a huge issue of people voting out of precinct and getting provisional ballots where they voted for the governor, but voted for District 4, Congressional. We fought all sorts of voting problems. So it is actually not clear that I lost.
Thank you, Dr. Bourdeaux.
Thank
you, Dr. Bourdeaux. I appreciate it. I will ask the next question of Representative Lopez Romero. Representative, you have pledged to vote for the Green New Deal in Congress. What kind of infrastructure would that bring to the 7th District? And would you support building more roads like the proposed outer loop that could help alleviate some traffic in Gwinnett County?
Patricia, thank you for the question. Let's start off with the fact that in 2019 alone, Georgia lost $3 billion due to Hurricane Michael. That's why, as a state representative, I was honored to be recognized by the environmentalist group 100 Miles for my support for conservation legislation of our Georgia coast. And the reason that I am supporting the Green New Deal is because we need to return to our global leadership role to protect our environment. And as you stated, the Green New Deal provides a way to encourage clean energy, high-paying jobs, like the solar panel manufacturing jobs that are thriving in Dalton and South Georgia. That is one of my most important reasons why we need to support the Green New Deal. And we can do it in collaboration of having public transit here in Forsyth, in addition to additional other infrastructure to alleviate our transportation and traffic issues.
Thank you, Representative. Emma Hurt has the next question in this round. I'm sorry, Mr. Eaves, did you have a response?
Yeah, I'd just say that if there's any silver lining in the COVID-19 pandemic is that pollution has gone down as a result of less cars on the road. And I think that one of the things that is sorely needed in District 7 is the expansion of MARTA to that region. And I will say that I'm the only person on this panel who has had experience in dealing with regional transportation and transit issues. I was one of 21 people who developed Concept 3, which is the expansion of MARTA.
Mr. Eaves. Thank you, sir. Your time has responded. Senator Karinshak?
What we must know is that climate change has been identified by military leaders as the single most difficult issue for national security. At this point, it is a national security issue. As a state senator, I co-sponsored a bill to give tax credits for electronic vehicles. And also, as the chairwoman of the Gwinnett Senate delegation, we have worked very hard on transportation issues, and this has been a high priority for us as well.
All right, Representative Brenda Lopez Romero.
Thank you, Patricia. What I want to make clear that I have already been leading as a state representative, both by providing for state funding for public transportation, working for the creation of the ATL, and working on transportations here in Gwinnett and Forsyth by pushing the Gwinnett referendum and fighting back a Republican attempt to deny the referendum for 7 years.
Thank you. We'll have a final response to this question from Nabilah Islam.
So this is a national security issue, and it's the biggest existential issue of our lifetime and for our planet. And that's why I'm advocating for Green New Deal, because yes, we have to invest in green new jobs, which will create millions of jobs across the country and inside of the 7th district, and also stimulate our economy. We can't wait any longer. And we have to be bold and progressive about the policies that we choose to combat the climate crisis if we're ever going to do it right.
Thank you. The next question in this round goes to Emma Hurt.
Dr. Bourdeaux, what are you doing differently with your campaign this time than in 2018 to prevent another loss?
So we come back with a lot more strength than we had last time. It took a while to build out the infrastructure of the Democratic Party here in this area. Previous candidates that had run before, had really the deck stacked against them in ways that were tough. But back in 2018 in this district, there were seats that Hillary won where the Democratic Party didn't even field candidates. So we come back with a much stronger base, with a much broader group of supporters. I come in with endorsements from Congressman John Lewis, from Andrew Young, from Hank Johnson, from former Senator Sam Nunn, and a host of local elected officials here in the 7th. And all of that, it is a diverse coalition. It is a coalition coming back to finish the job in this district.
15 seconds. All right, Dr. Malik, did you have something to add?
Yes, I would like to add that I ran in 2016, and I increased the number of votes in Gwinnett County, District 7 by 55,000 approximately. So I was the one who broke the ice for others to move in the future. So I'm the torchbearer of the Democratic Party, and I was able to convince, I jumped the vote from 90,000 to 114,220. So I can contribute the same energy and organization to the present election.
Representative Romero?
Being and working here in Gwinnett County and Forsyth, the reality is that Carolyn has done nothing different than her last election cycle. She's still not reaching out to a diverse communities, particularly the Black, Latino, and Asian communities. She hasn't been attending our monthly meetings of any nonprofits and organizations, but a few spare times. The reality is that nothing has changed. And the broad support of endorsements that she had last year because she was our nominee. So nothing absolutely has changed in her campaign. And that's why we need to elect me that's actually going to do this.
Dr. Bourdeaux, do you have a response to that?
Yeah, so that is absolutely untrue. I spend every Sunday in a church. I spend my Fridays to the extent I can in a mosque. I've gone to the temples and to the synagogues. I have been to the organizations all across this district. I have support because people know I can win. And I put this race on the map last time with a lot of work from many of you guys watching this. And we are coming back to finish the job in this district this time.
Thank you, Dr. Bourdeaux. We'll move on to another topic. Dr. Malik, my question is for you. You ran a medical trade school called Malik College for many years, but you were accused of paying bribes and had to close the college in 2018. What can you tell voters about your school's closure, and how can you assure them that they can trust you as their new member of Congress?
Sure. The way it happened that I became the victim of bureaucratic corruption. In fact, Fulton County, if I'm not mistaken, for the last 17 years, and Gwinnett County and DeKalb County combined, they have a group of people working together in the corruption, stole around about $400,000 from me, and I could not do anything. I went from door to door knocking. I've got letters in my email. I can bring it to you that I've been writing letters to them, but nobody would give me my money. So in return, what they did, they turned against me. And as we know, according to Constitution and law of this land, a person is innocent till proven guilty. And nobody could prove that. And still today, I challenge. In fact, I'm writing a book on that one.
15
and
seconds.
I'm about to get my materials from my lawyer, but the COVID came in. But a book will be coming out about my experience. All I can say, those who are immigrants, please do not shy away. Please do not be afraid of anybody from my experience. The moment you
Thank you,
encounter
Dr.
those
Malik.
kind of things, reach out to the law.
Thank you, sir. Your time has expired. Senator Karinshak, did you have something to add?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Something that we have not talked about, and I want to make sure to bring up, is there is a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse in government. As a whistleblower attorney, I have recovered hundreds of millions of dollars, particularly in Medicare and Medicaid, on behalf of taxpayers. And I have that unique experience that I bring to the table.
15 seconds.
Thanks to Dr. Malik. I encourage him. I know he is a good person. We have worked together. He worked to help me get elected, and I greatly appreciate his representation. And I agree. Immigrants. I'm the daughter of an immigrant.
Thank you, Senator.
And be a part of our
Thank you, Senator. Your time has expired. The next question goes to Emma Hurt.
Commissioner Eaves, how has the COVID-19 pandemic affected your policy priority list and what you would focus on first in Congress?
I tell you, I played a prominent role with the Affordable Care Act in Fulton County in terms of creating opportunities for more people to get insurance. But one of the things that really has struck me as a result of COVID is I've moved from the Affordable Care Act improvement to Medicare for All. I just absolutely believe that it is incredible that we do not provide health insurance for everybody in this country. And so I will work feverishly to make sure that Medicare for All is available to all residents. And then number two, fixing this broken healthcare delivery system that we have in this country right now.
Patricia, may I ask a follow-up?
Yes, thanks.
Commissioner, on your website, I believe you said you don't believe in raising taxes. How do you plan on paying for that plan?
So there are two things. First of all, COVID-19 has proven with the stimulus package, whenever there is political will, resources will follow. And so resources will follow in terms of potential revenue streams that are discovered and identified through corporation loopholes that are in place. And I do believe that now there's an opportunity and a need for making sure that people who are rich are paying their commensurate fair share.
Representative Lopez Romero, do you have something to add?
Yes, Patricia, COVID-19 has shown us that I am the only candidate that leads with constituent services. I have not been sitting talking to donors or asking for money. Instead, I've been fielding calls about how to pay rent, how to avoid foreclosure, how to avoid bankruptcy, and also how to vote safely. And although we are encouraging people to vote by mail, we understand that people will still exercise their vote in person. So we will be handing out gloves for people that arrive to our early voting locations. This is the kind of leadership that we need in Congress, someone on the ground working on the daily needs.
Thank you, Representative. Dr. Malik, you'd raised your hand.
I would like to talk about health care. We need the universal health care for everybody. And that's the reason I'm proposing the economic model, because money is a big factor. Economic model of peace by trade, why we eliminate war, because war, we lost $3 trillion according to President Jimmy Carter. So if we take this economic model of peace by trade and trade with our partners equally, then we'll be able to increase our wealth of the nation.
Senator Karinshak, something to add?
Yes, ma'am. I did want to add, we in our Senate office have been actively responding to folks in constituent services. We have held at least 4 town halls on the issues that folks have brought up. If there's anybody out there who needs help with the COVID crisis, please feel free to contact us, 404-656-0048. We're here for you, and we're working night and day for you. Honesty, Congress has taken second seat to that, but that's fine. This is my job. I'm your senator, and I'm here for you.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator. The next question is for Ms. Islam. Ms. Islam, can you hear me? I see that you've taken your earbuds out.
I can hear
Okay.
now.
All right. Thank you so much. Well, any member of Congress can tell you that more than half their job probably is constituent services. How much thought have you given to how you would set up your constituent services office, and what would that look like?
Yes, so I would have a very strong constituent service office, making sure that we have strong staff here on the ground. And I've noticed that all throughout my years, helping candidates get elected to office, that one of the most important things is being accessible to our constituents. And I'm not going to be, a representative that has only town halls, like I'm committed to making sure that I'm in the district as much as possible, that I'm here on the ground listening to people and their struggles and making sure that, they are accessible to my office whenever they need any help.
All right, thank you. Representative Lopez Romero, did you have something to add?
Yes, Patricia, I am the only candidate here that has a written constituent services plan. It includes not having physical offices, but instead a mobile office that goes throughout our district every 2 to 3 weeks in high density community centers or shopping centers to bring government to people, which is the work that I've been doing. On top of that, having to develop an app so that people can reach out to us from the comfort of their home, in addition to multiple advisory commissions so that people can have a two-way conversation with me on a daily basis.
Senator Karinshak, something to add there?
Just wanted to add that I have lived in the district for more than 25 years, and I have been working constituent services throughout my entire time. I have been an attorney. I have done civil rights work. I have coalitions all across this district built over 25 years. I didn't move to the district to run. I have
15
been
seconds.
And I am originally from rural Georgia, which was also part of the 7th back in the day when I was nominated to the Air Force Academy and graduated from the 10th class of women. So I know how to fight for constituents. And
all right, thank you, Senator. Thank you, Senator. The next question goes to Emma Hurt.
Dr. Bourdeaux, with the massive federal relief packages being distributed to Americans very much in need right now, Congress is also continuing to increase our national debt. How do you believe that Congress needs to deal with this in the aftermath of the pandemic as we move forward?
Okay, so just to back up a bit about the relief package itself. One of the things we've been doing as a campaign is, trying to reach out, provide resources to people who are dealing with the coronavirus pandemic. One of the big challenges we are hearing, and we are doing regular sort of town hall Carolyn's Corners every Tuesday evening at 6 o'clock. So please join us for that. And one of the challenges is that small businesses, individuals are not getting the relief that they need from that package. And we need to make sure that Congress and the administration is making a better connection between the need on the ground and the resources. That being said, as I mentioned before, there are a lot of places where we can go to balance this budget. And first of all is corporate welfare
15
and
seconds.
The deal where billionaires are paying a lower tax rate than you and I.
Dr. Malik, did you have something to add, sir?
Sure. First thing, after this COVID thing is over and we get elected to the Congress, one thing we have to make sure that we restructure and reorganize the pandemics expert committee and make it stronger than ever. And the other thing is that I am promoting the rights of the citizen who are not represented, who cannot vote, like the women, school lunch, travel project, disables, reparation, because we have to take care of our children. We cannot take care of a dead person.
Thank you, Dr. Malik. We'll give the final word. Thank you, Dr. Malik. We'll give the final word to Ms. Islam on this question.
Yes, so working families are the ones that are being hit the hardest right now. My mother lost her job about a month ago, and now 30 million Americans are unemployed. And millions have lost their health insurance as well. Americans need immediate relief. The $1,200 a one-time check that we've received is not enough. I've received $2,000, and that we need to cancel rent, mortgage, and utilities until this pandemic is over, because right now it is the working people on the ground, is the people of this district that are hurting the most.
All right, thank you, Ms. Islam. The next question is for Senator Karinshak. Senator, you played a lead role in opposing the 6-week abortion ban in the Georgia state legislature. What did you learn from that experience, and how would that affect how you approach the issue in Congress?
Thank you. You are correct. I helped lead the fight against the extreme abortion ban. It was one of the toughest fights at the Capitol, and I strongly believe that your reproductive health choices are between a woman, her family, her doctor, and her God. You'll also note that I have been a champion for women. I introduced this year a pumping bill to have women to have the ability to pump at work. That had been a gap in our laws. And I also increased breast cancer screenings. And I also was a co-sponsor of the Equal Rights Amendment. I also have been recently endorsed by the National Organization of Women, that is now, as a woman's champion. Want someone who's going to work for women's health care? I'm your candidate. Again, others talk about what they're going to do. I've actually done it, and I've voted over and over again, and I have we have a great record for you to review, and proud of. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Representative Lopez Romero.
I have also, as in my 4 years in the as a state representative, have worked and organized people to come, both allies and strong progressive women, to fight against HB 481. But in addition to that, organize and fight to get the ERA. And in Congress, again, what our actual job is going to be, I will push to extend the deadline to be able to ratify the ERA to make it a constitutional right and continue to support victims of sexual assault, particularly on a focus with women of color.
Thank you, Representative. Senator Karinshak?
Yes, I just want to reiterate what Representative Lopez Romero has said. We have worked hard down at the Capitol for women's rights, and I am the mother of 2 teenage daughters, and I look them in the eyes every day and know that I have to work for them to have reproductive health care, as well as for all Americans to have affordable, accessible health. And that's what I'm going to do.
All right, thank you, Senator. Emma Hurt has the next question in this round.
Commissioner Eaves, given that much of your policy experience is in Fulton County, how do you think that experience would transfer to the 7th District, which, while being in the same metro area, is different from Fulton County?
Well, that's easy. I have not only just been the chairman of Fulton County, but I've also been a regional leader. I served as a board member of the Atlanta Regional Commission for 11 years, so got a chance to experience the politics of the entire region, and specifically District 7. But the other part of it is I have 11 years of experience going to Washington, D.C., relationships, working with the Obama administration. At the end of the day, a member of Congress is in Washington, D.C. And so I know how to maneuver. I know how to get around. I know how to work with the various parties to get legislation passed. I know how to interact with agencies. So to me, the most important thing is the experiences that I've had are transferable to what I will do as a future congressman in District 7.
All right, thank you, Mr. Eaves. And Dr. Bourdeaux, you'll have the final question in this round. Which member of Congress or which members of Congress do you admire, and who would you anticipate working with of either party if you were elected to Congress?
Sure. So I was recently endorsed by Congressman Hakeem Jeffries. He is one of the rising stars in the House Democratic leadership. I am here to get everybody affordable quality health care. I'm running because we need a world-class education. I'm running because, yes, we need transit. We've got a soul-sucking commute in this district. I'm running because we need to address the climate crisis and we need to reform our democracy. And I look forward to working with him on all of those issues.
All right, Ms. Islam, would you like to add something?
Yes, I admire Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. They challenged electability, and they had bold progressive voices and gave their districts a voice that they've never had before. And they were able to represent, now they're the leading voices in Congress today. And I intend to be one of those leading voices in Congress, and I intend to join them and fight the good fight.
All right, well, I see a lot of hands up, but I'm afraid that is all the time that we have for this question and answer round. As a reminder for those watching, this is the 7th District debate among the Democratic candidates here in Georgia. And each candidate will now have 60 seconds for a closing statement. Ms. Islam, you have the first closing statement.
My name is Nabilah Islam, and I'm running to be the next representative of this district. I'm the daughter of working class immigrants from Bangladesh. I grew up in Gwinnett County. I'm a proud graduate and the first person in my family to graduate from college. I'm running for Congress because Georgia 7th is my home. I know firsthand what the struggles are like when families are trying to make ends meet. They're struggling to pay for their health care. I'm running because 20% of this district is uninsured. Healthcare should be a human right. I'm running because working class families shouldn't have to struggle to live paycheck. One job should be enough in the richest country in the world. And because Georgia 7th is one of the most diverse districts in the entire country. And it deserves to have reflective representation. It deserves to have representation that understands our lived experiences. I'm running because the 7th is my home, and I've been a fighter my whole life. And when I get to Congress, I will fight for this district. You can learn more about myself, my policies at NabilahForCongress.com, and I humbly ask for your vote on June 9th.
Thank you, Ms. Islam. Dr. Malik, you have your closing statement.
Hello, I'm Dr. Rashid Malik. I came to America in 1979. I started my college with only $1,200 in my pocket in 1980, January. I graduated and did my master and PhD from Missouri and Kansas, And now here I am here to serve you the best of my ability. I'm promoting this new economic model which will benefit everybody at the grassroots level, that is peace via trade, because trickle-down economy never worked. As I said before, President Jimmy Carter said, if we go into peace mode, we'll be saving $3 trillion within the next 30 years. And that will give us the impetus which we need to have other programs. Income inequality, equal pay for equal job, and healthcare, because healthcare is paramount. By the way, I like to say over here, I love Nancy Pelosi in the Congress,
15
and I'll be working with her. So here comes the peace via trade. We have to work together at the grassroots level so the economic benefit can create more circulation of funds and resources for the ordinary citizen, not trickle-down economy. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Malik. Brenda Lopez Romero, it's your turn.
Thank you so much, Patricia. The key difference in this primary election cycle is about electing someone that will actually flip this seat and that will be a person that's focused on the ground with our leadership and our constituent services. I didn't have to wait till 2016 or 18 election cycle to open my eyes and wake up to our issues here in District 7. Instead, for 15 years, I have been working in Forsyth and Gwinnett, fighting for equity, public education, and fighting against discrimination and racial profiling. The healthcare system has failed my family, which is why I know we need Medicare for all who want it. The immigration system is broken. I know as an immigrant and immigration attorney, which is why I know how to fix it. And I know as a small business owner what we need to support mom and pop small businesses. And in addition to that, if the 2018 cycle did teach us anything, along with Stacey Abrams, it's that we must elect strong women of color to lead our state. My name is Brenda Lopez Romero, and I ask for your vote to be your next congressman.
Thank you, Representative. Carolyn Bourdeaux, please give your closing statement.
I am the daughter of teachers. I have spent my entire life in public service. I've worked for members of Congress, for U.S. senators. I was director of the Senate Budget and Evaluation Office. I founded the Center for State and Local Finance here in Georgia. I have worked on legislation that has expanded access to public health centers. It has expanded access to low-income food programs. It is providing funding for transit programs, even to this day. I am in this race because we need affordable health care, because we need world-class education for our children, because we need to reform our democracy. I am coming back to finish the job, and I ask for your support in the primary on June 9th.
All right, thank you, Dr. Bourdeaux. John Eaves, it's your turn.
Well, this election is a referendum on leadership. I've had 11 years of leadership leading the largest county in the state of Georgia, as well as being a regional leader. And I also delivered on results. I led the fight to save Grady Hospital in 2007 and 2008. It was about to close. I led the most sweeping criminal justice reform in the history of Fulton County and established the first ever expungement summit that is now being replicated in Gwinnett County and many other counties in the metro Atlanta area. I led the first ever passage of a transportation SPLOST in Fulton County that will generate over $100 million worth of projects. Right now, District 7 is in dire need of a leader who can address the diverse needs of our constituency. And I pledge that I am the one that can provide the strongest leadership. John Eaves is my name, and I look forward to being your representative in Congress.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Eaves. Zahra, Karinshak, it's your turn for a final closing statement.
Thank you to our great moderators today and to my fellow candidates for stepping up to run for office. And thank you to all the people in Georgia 7 who tuned in today to join us. Folks, I'm asking you your vote so I can fight for you. I've been a fighter my entire life. As an Air Force intelligence officer during the Gulf War, I fought to protect American lives at home and abroad. As a prosecutor, I fought to keep our communities safe from gun smugglers and human traffickers. And 2 years ago, when I ran for the state Senate, we fought to flip a Republican seat that no one said we could win. And we did it big. In the state Senate, I've defended our voting rights and our freedom of choice. This district deserves a leader who will go to Washington and fight for you, not just for the sake of fighting, but to get things done. I'm a proven leader who has done it. I'm Zahra Karinshak, and I would be honored to be your vote. Thank Thank you so much, everybody.
All right. Thank you so much, Senator Karinshak. And we have just a little bit of extra time. And so, Emma Hurt, I hate to put you on the spot for this, but you are our local election expert. Let us know, from all that you've done covering this race and the Republican side as well, what do you think are going to be the big issues going into Election Day on either side? Do you have anything that you could share with our viewers?
I think the coronavirus pandemic has changed this a bit and put healthcare even more front and center than it would have been. Before the coronavirus pandemic, I would have said that abortion in the general election would be particularly at the top of the list, and I think it's still there, but healthcare for sure, and immigration. I mean, in this district in particular, immigration policy seems top of mind. What do you think, Patricia?
Okay, I think you're 100% right. That would have been my answer if I was given the answer. Thank you so much. But we know that you're on the ground every day and talking not just to candidates, but to voters as well. And those are the ones whose opinions are really going to count. And so that really actually does conclude our debate today. We'd like to remind voters that Election Day is Tuesday, June 9th. That's when it has been rescheduled for. In-person early voting begins May 18th. We'd like to thank all of the candidates for participating in this debate. And I have a special thank you to Emma Hurt for assisting me today, especially with that last minute pop quiz that I gave her. I'd also like to thank the Atlanta Press Club and Georgia Public Broadcasting for arranging today's debate. For more information on the full schedule of all of these congressional debates, viewers can please visit atlantapressclub.org. This debate will also be archived, and it will be on Georgia Public Broadcasting's website at gpb.org.